It's okay to be dumb. What was your this person is on another level of stupid moment. I locked my purse with my keys and cell phone in my apartment. I went to the office to ask maintenance to let me in. The woman at the desk said she would call maintenance and asked for a phone number they could reach me at. I said there wasn't one because my cell phone was locked in my apartment. She insisted she needed a number. I said I could give her the number, but that I wouldn't be able to answer if they called. She suggested I get my phone out of my apartment so that I could answer when they called. I rolled my eyes at her and said if I could get in my apartment to get my cell phone I wouldn't need maintenance to let me in. She never did understand me, but maintenance did show up 10 minutes later. I once worked in a Midwestern grocery store deli, and I was trying to explain to a woman that the name brand and generic brand of the macaroni salad that we carried were in fact identical. The woman yelled at me saying she could only have the generic brand because one is made with mayo and the other is made with mayonnaise and I don't like mayo. When I tried to explain that mayo is an abbreviation of mayonnaise, she just said I'm from the South, I know my food and tutted away. She is going to be in for a shock when she goes to the pharmacy for her prescription of mayonnaise. Yeah, she got it at the Mayo Clinic. I got a concussion a while back. A friend of mine told me not to come close because it might be contagious. They weren't kidding. A girl in my school had gotten about 3 concussions within a year, and when she hit her head the 4th time and blacked out for a minute, refused to go to the doctor because last time they said if I got another concussion it could cause brain damage, so I'm not going to let them give me another one. I think the 3rd one might have done it for her. Ex-flatmate cancelled the gas and electricity contract because it was too expensive. Wondered why we had no more electricity nor gas. She thought we paid €90 a month to get a hotline 24/7 in case of problem. I was friends with a couple who only had enough money to pay either the cable bill or the electricity. They paid the cable. A couple days later the power was turned off. Reminds me of choosing beer over toilet paper. I worked at a restaurant and we had a dish that was just a whole grilled chicken chopped into pieces. A woman who ordered for delivery called us, absolutely scathing, complaining that her order of 1 whole chicken only contained 2 chicken breasts. Had to explain to grown-ass woman that chicken only have 2 breasts. She wanted some of that Total Recall chicken. Make her wish she had 3 mouths. I had to explain to a girl why you couldn't grow your hair down in front of your face and just cut out eye holes. Even explaining it her she couldn't grasp it and brushed me off as being too smart. I worked at a pet store in college. This customer asked me which food would make his pit bull swole. I suggested a high protein food with a good amount of exercise, but advised that a lot of it was determined by the dog's genetics. He asked me if we sold genetics. Answer, yes, but it comes pre-packaged in dog. Rescued a cow walker on the side of the road with a flat tire, waiting for the tow truck. I pointed out the nail at the top of their tire. They scoffed and looked at me like I was the stupidest person in the world and exclaimed, "That's not true, BC, it's flat at the bottom." I just walked away and never brought it up again. Gosh, what an idiot. Nails are always flat on the top. I was friends with a guy who believed those fake Apple adverts like Apple Wave, microwave your phone for instant battery charge. I was so dumbfounded that he actually fell for it. When I saw him the week after and he had a new phone, it all clicked for me. At least he's got the money to fund his idiocy. Not everyone that buys a new phone every year can actually afford it. This was my first experience in retail where I learned what many customers would be like. Seasons were changing, so we put a lot of shirts we had to get rid of in the front and made them 50% off. I was working the register when a woman came up to buy her things. I rang her up and could see a look on her face like something was wrong. That's when the following happened. "Lady, why is this so much?" Me, "Pardon me? Lady, this should only be $10 not $20. I thought that maybe her item was on sale, so I asked if she could point out the sign because I wasn't aware of it. It was a small store and we didn't have to walk anywhere. "Lady, this sign here." Me, "This sign says that all shirts are 50% off." Lady, "Yes, so why is this full price?" Me, "This is a hat." My wife's cousin and her husband slash not baby daddy of her unborn child fell on self-induced hard times and needed a place to stay for a bit. We set up a queen-sized air mattress in the living room for them. For 3 weeks I woke up to go to work and every morning saw them sleeping on it sideways with their legs hanging off the edge. Then one day she asked me to buy her a bigger air mattress because this one was hard on their backs. I told her to turn her body. The ducking thing even has a built-in pillow on one end. Her response was that then they couldn't see the TV. Then duck and turn the air mattress to face the TV. That's the story of how I became an asshole to the trailer trash side of the family. The bad part is that it's only one of many stories. The husband was a cook at Applebee's. The baby daddy was a cook at Applebee's, and her new husband was another cook from the same ducking Applebee's, all working together. I used to work with a girl who was sweet but so dumb. We were in a meeting once and somehow someone mentioned baked ham. My manager said, "Ugh, I hate ham. It looks like human flesh." The girl I mentioned was sitting next to me and looked horrified and whispered, "Does ham really come from people?" I'd be more worried about the manager that knows what cooked human flesh looks like. I was once asked how it felt to come to the US as a refugee. I'm from Germany. She then looked rather surprised when I told her that Hitler has been dead for 75 years and that Germany is one of the more liberal countries in the world these days. She full on thought I fled Nazi Germany. Back in 99 over 2000 I was in the US with my German girlfriend at the time and we convinced my roommates that Germans live in Tupis. Some wigwams already had power but not all. I worked at a meat desk for a summer job and a woman came in and asked if we had any meat without spices or sauces. She then proceeded to tell us that the doctor had said that her dogs got sick because she kept feeding them pizza and they couldn't handle the spices. She then said, "Oh, but they love pizza so much, I feel bad for them. I'm probably still gonna feed them pizza. I hate people like this who knowingly harm their children and or pets' health. At least with children you can call CPS, but pets are sadly at these dumbass's mercy." Dated a guy. We watched Titanic. He thought the movie was stupid because the boat sank. It wasn't believable. You can't recover from that. Ever. It's such a stupid premise, though. Boats don't sink, they float. Everyone knows that. That's the whole reason for having a boat to begin with. I work for Parks Canada in Yoho National Park. I have been asked the question, seriously, where do you keep the animals at night? Twice in my career. To this day I still find great joy imagining what they thought was going on each night as we collected every large animal in the parks. Spent 7 years working for TSA. Had a pretty sweet detail where I would assist passengers who did not have ID or assist TSA agents if they had questions about the validity of the given ID. I get a call on the radio asking for assistance in verifying an ID. I come over and ask what the issue is. Agent hands me a driver's license and says, "Can't accept this Canadian ID." Hearing this, I assume it's expired or the wrong name. I take a look and see that it is an Alaskan driver's license. I quickly approve the passenger and send them on their way. I then spend 10 minutes explaining that A, Canadian DLs are acceptable according to TSA regulations and B, Alaska has never been a Canadian territory. This coworker has a master's degree in mathematics and served 25 years in the US Air Force. Knew a girl in middle school that didn't understand the concept of perspective. She also thought north was whichever direction you were facing at the time. Ah yes, true north. My boss asked me to file the spam mail. This man was one of those people who think they are the smartest person in the room. So spam folder okay, weird, but okay. I couldn't find any spam mail that wasn't already in the spam folder. Afternoon comes and he stomps over to my desk area and wants to know why the spam isn't in the spam folder as he throws a manila folder on my desk. The folder was labeled spam. He prints spam mail out and files it. And with any sign of skepticism on my face, he'd insist the IT guy told him that's where spam goes. So he got himself a folder and that was it. I had to get the duck out. Edit. People are asking if I'm serious. I have photo proof. This story is in good faith. I was asking my friend, Jay, when he learned about 9/11. He started telling me the specific story of how he walked outside and saw smoke everywhere and how he asked his mom about it. He claimed she said planes hit the towers. I stared at him, just silently taking in the story. We live in the Midwest, there was no way he saw the debris from the towers. Also, we were born in 2003. Your story reminded me of a 9/11 experience I heard from two college freshmen. The first guy asks his friend where he was on 9/11, and he says Philadelphia. He was telling this guy how he saw one of the planes hit the Pentagon from Philadelphia. Then the first guy asks what the Pentagon is. The second guy says it's like a wrestling venue in New York City, SMH. Back when the Fukushima nuclear power plant disaster happened, we were discussing how the reactor had failed in a science class. 5 minutes into the conversation, a girl piped up and said, "I don't see what the big deal is. Why can't we just regrow it?" She deadass thought a nuclear power plant was a plant. The time a friend told me how much he hates potatoes while eating french fries, and I literally blew his mind by telling him french fries are potatoes. Wonder how your friend would feel about onion rings after learning what's inside those things. Potatoes? Not me, but a friend worked in a call center for a CC company in the disputes department. The number one item people called to say they never purchase: interest charge. Someone in my history class argued that Mussolini was a type of pasta. I knew a kid in high school who thought Tortellini was a dictator. Benito Tortellini. A rolled coworker was telling me that there's people out there that think Alaska is an island. I laughed in disbelief, but another coworker overheard and was flabbergasted. What? It's not? But it's always drawn off to the side with Hawaii. Point made. Another time, a guy with a really thick accent walked in. Same girl was like, "Oh wow, I like your accent. Where are you from?" Said guy, "Have a guess." Her response, "Have a guess? I've never heard of that place before." And walked away. She is super sweet, just slightly oblivious. How much is a $50 worth? She was the newest teller my boss hired. Will never forget that moment. Me, when I was a kid, I had a real old transistor radio. Asked my parents for a newer radio so I could receive and listen to newer music. Had someone ask me, "Is Europe on Earth?" I'm European and no, we live on Mars lol. My sister asked if the Eiffel Tower was in Paris or France and couldn't understand how it could be in both. A friend didn't have coins for a vending machine, but did have $1. She folded up the dollar and forced it into the coin slot, and then did not understand why she did not get her item. For me, I had a concussion and was getting x-rays taken. They gave me a lead blanket to wrap around my twig and berries. I took it and wrapped it around me like a cape. I could not understand what they wanted me to do. Classmate was convinced that winning the lottery is 50% chance because you either win it or not in last year of high school. There was a girl in my high school who forced the teacher to pause a documentary about people living in mud huts in Africa because she was upset that they were showing us fictional movies in a history class. It took everyone else in the room to convince her that people actually live like that in some places. Wealthy area living for ya. I asked a girl when the last time was that she changed her oil. She said, "Oil? You mean gas?" I work retail. Had a customer a few weeks back pull her mask down to cough into the open air and then pull it back up. Really makes you wonder why there are people like this in the world. I'm an identical twin and have been asked all manner of utterly ridiculous questions about it throughout my life. But I think the stupidest was when a girl once asked me, "Do you ever get yourselves mixed up with each other?" I responded, "Are you asking me if I ever sometimes think I'm my brother?" She replied, "Yeah. No, I don't." I had to explain to a woman that apples did not contain any gluten, meat, or dairy ingredients. How can one think apples contain dairy? She thought gluten was found in every major grain and that apples were a grain because they have seeds. I can't use this, I'm left-handed. It was a ducking shovel, and I was the idiot that thought a left-handed shovel existed. We asked our classmate to prove she knew the 7 continents. Her list went like this: North America, Europe, China, the Pacific Ocean. I shit you not. Damn. To think she missed Mount Everest, the Pacific Ocean, and the Polar Express. It's like they aren't even teaching geography in schools anymore. Sad really. So I was talking to one of my online friends about global warming for whatever reason. I said that my mom ran into an old high school friend that didn't even believe that there was trash in the ocean. We live like 10 minutes from the beach, so you can clearly see evidence of trash coming in from the ocean. Anyways, my online friend one-upped me and said they met someone who believed in global warming, but they were in support of it.